The big question then, is politics going to derail the process of law? Is this a character assassination? Or should Wankhede be taken off the Aryan case pending an inquiry? Has the NC been unleashed by the centre as the opposition claims? Priyanka Chaturvedi, Shiv Sena's MP in the Rajya Sabha, and Shaina NC, BJP spokesperson with us. Priyanka Chaturvedi, you heard Nawab Malik there. The fact is, there are, as we say, there is a feeling that the Maharashtra government has made this now a battle against the NCB. Even your leader, Uddhav Thackeray, Maharashtra Chief Minister, said celebrities are being targeted by the NCB. Is this the way you are going to play this case? This is now state versus centre, Maharashtra government versus NCB.
Before answering your question, Rajdeep, I'd just like to say the 30 minutes that I had to wait to come on the show, I'm sure in that 30 minutes you all would have leaked another 3 pages of WhatsApp conversation between Aryan Khan and Ananya Pandey to get your TRPs and get your ad revenue. But however,
I have not put out any such WhatsApp. Ma'am, just a minute. Ma'am, I must tell you, the WhatsApp chats that have been put out are those... 1 minute.
It's not you.
No. The channel has put out based on what has been provided by the NCP to the court. These are not just WhatsApp chat, but it's part of the NCP's case.
Exactly. That is exactly what I wanted to come to. Yes, Mr. Sardesai, this is exactly what I wanted to come to. That the channels are playing whatever NCB has been leaking out to them.
No.
3 pages of loose sheets have been played out for past many hours. 1 second, Mr. Sardesai, you will have to allow me to speak.
Please go ahead.
You've kept me waiting for 30 minutes.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, so if I'm getting my time, please allow me to speak.
Yes, please go ahead.
So all I'd like to tell you here is that we are facing a situation where NCB is sending out sources of information, leaking information which your channels are playing to the gallery for your TRPs or for whatever reasons. You all are doing what you all have to do for your TRPs. We are waiting to be heard on your channels for 30 minutes, which is fine. Now here comes the centre versus state. This has nothing to do with the centre versus state. Here is an apex body of this country which is supposed to be tackling narco-terrorism. Narco-terrorism is a serious concern which your own magazine covered last week about how an emboldened Taliban and Afghanistan, a Pakistan and a China will try to push into our country. A 3,000 kg drug overhaul has happened in Mundra port. Nobody is discussing this. What are we discussing? We are talking about the end consumer who is being, who's being made guilty about whatever, of course, whatever the law and order they need to face, they need to face. However, if you look at the past conduct of us 1.5 years of NCB, especially in Maharashtra, they have been targeting high-profile targets. They have not been able to file a single charge sheet. The entire source of information happened to be WhatsApp conversations. Their punches happen to be people associated to them. The prime witness has come forward, independent witness in this particular case has come forward and said that the extortion was happening, money was being extorted, and today Nawab Malik ji has come forward with a letter, a whistleblower has come forward with information which shows 26 such cases, may not have been high profile, such cases where extortion of money is happening through this very NCB that we are talking about. What respectability, what credibility of NCB are we talking about if they do not have a face to show, and if they have extortion and fraud as the base of every single investigation that is happening in the past 1.5 years?
Okay, so you're saying that your charges are based on your belief that there is extortion, there is fraud. You know, Shaina NC, the BJP seems to be batting for Samir Wankhede as if he's one of theirs. The fact is, the NCB is supposed to be an independent investigating agency, but it appears at the moment, the sense one gets is that the BJP is batting for him. Why should the BJP be batting for an officer? From the moment when, during the Aryan Khan investigation, a local worker of the BJP was one of the witnesses, this consistent charge is being raised that the NCB, and it was also raised during Riya Chakrabarti's case, NCB is a proxy now for the centre to target the Maharashtra government.
Rajdeep, is this Nawab Malik versus Samir Wankhede, or is this about an overall which we want to make sure that we get rid of this drug mafia from the root? It's not even about Aryan Khan. It's about making sure that the supply chain is completely finished.
But then please Samir investigate what happened in Mundra. Ma'am, Shaina NC, I don't hear the BJP getting angry about the fact that 3,000 kgs came in Mundra. That doesn't seem to have galvanized the NCB.
Who tells you that?
It doesn't seem to have galvanized the NCB in the manner that a few grams that are found in Mumbai galvanizes you.
What is the job of the Narcotic Bureau? It is not just a cleanup of large cases, but even small cases. The fact that you need to get to the supply and the consumer as well. But to call him Samir Dawood Wankhede, to call a man of integrity, question whether his mother's Muslim and his father's Hindu and what have you, whether his first marriage vis-a-vis the second marriage is publishing of personal documents on Twitter and defamatory use of invasion of somebody's family privacy, your way of hitting back. And please stop this character assassination. This is not a BJP versus NCP issue either. This is about truth, and this is about a sociological evil, which is drugs, which is invading the youth of our country. And if we as concerned citizens do not want to get to the bottom of it, especially when a matter is sub judice, you have a witness who comes, who chooses not to have his prayer in a court of law when the matter is sub judice and chooses to speak to social media. I mean, extortion being the easiest kind of defense and suggesting that you have no proof and only hearsay cannot be substantive. Nawab Malik's personal agenda with Mr. Wankhede is known to one and all. We don't need to bat for him.
No, the
but
fact
if you have
nobody's batting for anyone.
Integrity, then I think it is important
who's going to decide?
To understand.
Ma'am, if his certificate, if his caste certificate is, 1 minute, Shaina NC.
I need to say something.
No, 1 minute, ma'am. Shaina NC, if the caste certificate is fraudulent, it's a fraud. There is no question of being a person of integrity. Just because you are a zonal director of NCB doesn't make you a man of integrity necessarily.
Who is saying no? But
so you admit to that.
Fake papers,
Nawab Malik is saying he is willing to give up his ministership.
Please tell him that he will have to. As he has said, he will put Mr. Samir Wankhede in jail in 1 month's time. He has called him a parrot of the BJP. He has used all kinds of adjectives. This is not about a tutu meme. Talk about the issue. Talk about drug mafia and unrooting it from the root rather than getting into this petty trivia.
Priyanka Chaturvedi, the charge is being... Just a minute, ma'am. The charge which is being made... Ma'am, 1 minute. 1 minute, ma'am. Ma'am, the charge which is being made is that there is an element of character assassination here. That instead of focusing on the case of Aryan Khan, the case has become now a war between two individuals and between the Maharashtra government in a way. How do you respond to that? Maharashtra government versus NCB, when it should be Aryan Khan, whether he is, whether the extortion case is
not
justified
even
or
that
not.
because it's
just a minute, ma'am. Now let her respond.
Can I just speak now?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Now, with regards to ma'am Shaina ji saying that there is character assassination, how is it character assassination when you build your career on the basis of forged documents, ma'am? You have a problem with him being addressed as Samir Dawood Wankhede. His birth certificate shows his father's name as Dawood Wankhede. So there is no doubt about that. What are we even arguing about? You're talking about character assassination. I'm sure you hold sympathy for past 1.5 years, how characters were assassinated, how families were dragged into conversation on the basis of WhatsApp conversation of 59 grams of cocaine. Right now we're discussing 6 grams of ganja, which was not even in possession of the person we are talking about. On the other hand, when you're talking about rooting out the social evil, I agree with you, ma'am. We need to root out the social evil. Mumbai police recently in a raid had caught drugs worth 25 crores. This should have been NCB's job. And what NCB is running after is not after cracking down on mafia. It is only running after individual cases which will perhaps bring them in the limelight and perhaps give them a reason to extort. You have a problem with extortion. One single man coming in.
1 minute.
Please, ma'am, he was the prime witness. Please allow me to complete. Yes. You are talking about a prime witness who is coming on record, who was asked to sign 10 pages of blank document, and he's coming on record to show that he has proof to say that he has carried money for Mr. Sam D'Souza, for Mr. Gosavi, and Mr. Gosavi's images are all over the town where he's actually taking the accused to the NCB office. He has access to the entire NCB office, and he's also getting the accused to speak to members of his family, perhaps on a mobile phone. How are you even, justifying something like this is a question of concern. If you're going to be defending something like this, you're not going to be rooting out any social evil problem that the youth of this country is facing. You're only continuing to defend an evil of political tool that is being used by the centre to attack governments which are not run by the Bharatiya Janata Party.
No, 1 minute, Shaina NC. No, Shaina NC, 1 minute. Shaina NC, 1 minute. I am for a moment at least still the anchor of the show.
Oh please, I don't want to get into this, Shaina. There's a lot I can bring out about your past governments. Do not get into this, ma'am. I'm speaking with a lot of respect.
I will ask both of you this. No, I will ask both of you this, and I will request you not to cross-talk. First you, Priyanka ji, and then Shaina. Simple point. Just a minute, ma'am. Both of you, just a minute. Let our viewers, ma'am, if you cross-talk, the viewers don't understand. Let me just... No, ma'am, I will therefore ask you all both...
You and me cannot sit on judgment as to what had actually transpired. Even the witness in the particular case, if we had an issue, he could have come up with a prayer.
I wasn't sitting in judgment. I was just giving you chronology. I was giving you the chronology. You have a problem with that? Discuss issues. Do not start attacking personally.
Okay, just can you, producer, both voices down, and I will ask you the same question, and I will give you 30 seconds each uninterrupted. Please give me that courtesy. First, you, Priyanka Chaturvedi, very simply, and then Shaina. There is a court case going on, right? The matter is sub judice in that sense. All these arguments will be made before they were made earlier sessions court. They are now in the High Court. Priyanka Chaturvedi, why can't, before you make all these charges, wait for the court? You are carrying out a parallel investigation virtually, as Nawab Malik admits, while the matter is in court. Why?
No.
30 seconds. Please go ahead.
Again, Mr. Sardesai, nobody is even commenting on this particular case. We are talking about an investigation officer, the zonal director of Narcotics Bureau. And we are discussing, there is just no parallel investigation happening. There are certain concerns that we are raising. Okay. If there is a problem with those concerns, if there is an answer to these issues, then I'm willing to debate this. It has nothing to do with what judiciary is going to decide. It's nothing to do with the bail matter. If anyone has broken the law, they will face the judicial system of this country.
You are casting aspersions on an officer. You are casting aspersions on an officer who is handling a high-profile investigation while the case is on.
Yes, so is he above suspicion?
Okay, fair enough.
Am I above suspicion? Are you above suspicion? Is CBI above suspicion?
Okay.
Why can't we ask questions?
Fair enough.
On the conduct of NCB
okay,
over
that's
the
a fair
past
point.
1.5 years?
That's a fair point.
How is it problematic?
Shouldn't
we be discussing this in a free and fair manner?
Sure, that's a fair point, which Shaina NC you must answer. The point is that, there is enough suspicion both in the Riya Chakraborty case and Aryan Khan on the conduct of the NCB. The government in Maharashtra has every right, therefore, to ask questions. And every time a question is asked, the BJP suddenly says, oh, the government is against the, is in some way protecting the drug mafia. If the BJP is serious about taking on the drug mafia, please focus on what happened at Mundra port and not what happens to a Mumbai film star's son.
Why can't you focus on both?
Because you're not.
Focus on what happened on both occasions. It's not a question of just quantity. It's about getting to the bottom of the case, and particularly when this matter is sub judice, not you or me can sit on judgment as to what happened. It's only for the judiciary to decide.
Okay.
But as we forget which party leaders were known for extortion, let's not forget Anil Deshmukh and what happened between the Mumbai police. That apart, the extortion racket which was blatantly carried, we don't need a character certificate from the opposition, but to unleash this kind of vendetta politics and make one-upmanship of
isn't that sub judice too? What you're commenting on and sitting in judgment upon?
Producer, you are both friends of mine, Priyanka, Shaina ji. You are both friends of mine.
You should be the one telling us who is hiding him.
That he
Producer, because this will, we all don't want to give character certificates to anyone at the moment. Let's allow the due process of law to continue, but questions can be asked. I think asking questions is perfectly acceptable of anyone, whether it's of Samir Wankhede or whether it's of Nawab Malik. That's what is is completely acceptable without necessarily getting into character assassination. Thank you both, though, very much for joining me here. Always good to have you on the show. Sorry to keep you waiting, Priyanka Chaturvedi and Shaina NC.